Morning, everyone. It is so awesome to be here. I just wanted to take a second and reset a little bit. This is my opportunity on stage, so bear with me. I just want to talk a little bit about this event as well. This event grew out of a number of different collaborations, a number of different other events, including the EarthRanger User Conference. One of the things that I always loved about the EarthRanger User Conference, which I still very much feel here today, I want to make sure that this tradition continues, is that it's a gathering among friends. So even though I'm standing up here on a stage in front of 400, what was the number, Drew? Just to make 458? All right, no pressure. I bring that up because at the user conference we used to, it was in the back of my mind that we were bringing a lot of engineers, developers, people that are not often in front of others, up in front of large groups of people and saying, hey, speak, which is not our typical place. I can say that as an engineer myself, it's not my natural inclination to stand up in front of hundreds of people and talk to everyone. That's why it's so, I'm getting hands up over there from Eric. Yeah. That's why it's really important to me to remember that the purpose of this gathering is for all of us to come together, spend time together, build our relationships, collaborate with one another, but that the vibe is one of communication, friendship. So just want to tell everyone, take it easy, enjoy each other's company, and the next few days are going to be amazing. All right. So I wanted to, we want to talk a little bit about where we're coming from as we build up to the big announcement information about this alliance that we're working together on. To do that, reflecting a little bit on EarthRanger in the last 10 years, we're very excited that this is our 10th anniversary, plus or minus a month. So it's really been a pleasure and honor to work with this community for the last 10 years. And so I was reflecting on, first of all, giving an introduction to EarthRanger for those of you who might not be familiar, but then also talk about where we've come in the last 10 years. So the typical summary that we give is that EarthRanger is a software platform that's used to collect data from lots of different places, whether that's integration with different types of sensors, wildlife tracking devices, camera traps, acoustic sensors, satellite data, data collected in the field, very importantly, from field personnel, and integrate all of that into one place for the purpose of real-time operations and response, but then also have all of those data available for analysis, improving performance, improving outcomes historically as well. And so that is the product view of it. And then we could also then talk about the metrics, the big metrics that we like to summarize, which is that there are now about 14,000 animals today that are tracked around the world in EarthRanger implementations. There's about 36,000 of them that have been tracked via different tracking mechanisms over the last 10 years. There are about 11,000 rangers who are tracked today in EarthRanger, meaning they're carrying a mobile device or a Garmin InReach or some satellite tracker through which we can track their position, and that can be viewed by their teams. There are about 39 million individual events that have been recorded by people in the field, saying this is a wildlife sighting or this is a carcass that was found or whatever that might be. And that we're now at the point that there are 2.5 billion data points across different EarthRanger systems collectively of all of these data, whether it's a tracking position for a ranger or an animal, and that's now growing at 3.6 million a day. So it's just this incredible amount of data. So this is one way of viewing the growth of EarthRanger, and one way that we're very excited about. But another way of looking at it is that we have built to the point that we're now integrated with about 150 different sensors. And so that's another form of growth and something we've achieved over the past 10 years. We're really excited about. But then where I think is particularly meaningful is that EarthRanger isn't just a product. It's now also a team. There's now 50 women and men all around the world who are focused on the development and the growth and the support and the communications and the partnerships around EarthRanger. And that, to me, is really when we start talking about what has EarthRanger become. It's that team. And then most importantly, it's the community that has been built around that. It's the 850-something different sites that are using EarthRanger today in 80 different countries. I pulled the number this morning, I think it's 17,000 people logged into EarthRanger last month. That to me is EarthRanger. It's the community that's represented here. It's the community that's using the software all around the world. It's the community that is working together to enhance conservation outcomes using technology. And so that's a little bit of a setup framework for what we're going to announce in a moment. So I'll hand it over to my friend Rich.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Rich Bergl. I have had the honor and the privilege of being involved with SMART for 15 years since it was created, and I've been the chair of the steering committee of SMART for the last 6 years. And I want to echo some of the things that Jess was saying in terms of EarthRanger, also for SMART. When we created SMART about 15 years ago, we had no idea what the journey we were starting on. When we created SMART, I think we considered being successful, having about 100 SMART users, 100 sites around the world using SMART, and perhaps a few hundred people using it on a daily basis. So over the last 15 years, the SMART partnership has helped to create an approach to doing conservation that is based on the people working in the field, collecting data in the field, and most importantly, using those data to improve conservation. We have created a set of technologies that include a desktop platform, a mobile application, and a cloud platform, and we've created a whole suite of capacity building materials and trainings that are designed to empower the people in this room and people around the world to better conserve wildlife in a really wide variety of different contexts. When we started SMART, we were very much focused on patrols and law enforcement and just making sure that law enforcement work was being done, measuring things like patrol distance and that kind of thing. But in the last 15 years, it's been amazing the diversity of different applications that SMART has been applied to. And there is absolutely no way that I could cover everything that SMART has been used for in a few minutes. I couldn't even cover everything that people in this room are using SMART for. But just to highlight some of the diverse applications of SMART, SMART is currently being used in the Canadian Arctic by indigenous Inuit communities to monitor their traditional hunting of wildlife. It's being used extensively for protected area monitoring and patrol monitoring, particularly in Congo's Nubali and Ndoki National Park, where it's being used on a daily basis to understand what law enforcement staff are doing in the field in this incredibly important park in Central Africa. It's being used in Europe, in Spain, to assess the conservation status of the critically endangered European rabbit, something that I know none of us who were in that room on the day SMART was created thought that it would be used for. And it's being used for research as well, particularly conservation-relevant research like understanding the drivers and patterns of tiger poaching in Bangladesh. So a huge diversity of different applications, and I'm really excited to hear from everybody in this room how you are using SMART and how are you using EarthRanger to solve conservation problems globally. So our collective success, both SMART and EarthRanger together, has also presented some challenges. As both SMART and EarthRanger have grown, as adoption has scaled across the entire globe, complexity has also increased, and we are in a situation now where sites and teams and organizations are using both tools, and they are collecting data in parallel. They're having to manage these different platforms, struggling to integrate data across these two platforms and other platforms. and missing out on the capabilities of both platforms as well. And so that's created confusion about, well, should I use SMART? Should I use EarthRanger? And it's even created competition between our two organizations, which is really what we don't want. We are first and foremost about helping to improve conservation, not about do you use SMART or do you use EarthRanger, or getting more sites to use SMART, more sites to use EarthRanger. But I don't think that this is necessarily a lack of progress. I think that this is indicative that what we are providing is really vital and is really valued and really needed in order to advance the practice of conservation. And so that's why today we are bringing together SMART and EarthRanger to develop the next generation of conservation tools. And so we are very much focusing this at ActCon on what we're calling the SMART EarthRanger Conservation Alliance, or SERCA. And with SERCA, we're building on this collective, strong foundation that we have coming from SMART, coming from EarthRanger, to unite people, to unite technology, to unite skills, to better understand and manage natural areas around the world. And so at the recent World Conservation Congress, CIRCA was announced by Cleo and Jess and others. And CIRCA is a new alliance of 9 conservation organizations, which combines the strengths of both SMART and EarthRanger and our collective members in order to promote an integrated approach to the collection of conservation relevant data in the field and the application of those data to improving conservation. Not only does this new alliance, CIRCA, create a new, and it will create a new set of tools to support all of the people in this room, conservationists around the world, but it also creates a global network of conservation professionals working to preserve wildlife and wild places, and collectively we will become an incredible resource, not just for protecting wildlife, but also for each other. We are imagining that this global network of literally tens of thousands of people will be working for wildlife, but also empowering and supporting each other to do better in conservation. We also understand that this represents a lot of change. We've, in conversations over the last few days, over the last few weeks, there's been a lot of questions about what does this mean for me? What does this mean for my site? What does this mean for SMART, for EarthRanger, our data? And so we are making a number of different commitments collectively within CIRCA to ensure that what we've provided to date will continue. So we are committing to building this new suite of tools, which will include everything that SMART and EarthRanger currently do, but also build on that to provide greater functionality, greater capacity for users around the world. We are going to ensure that all your data that's currently in EarthRanger or currently in SMART will transfer seamlessly to the new system. We're going to provide training and guidance on how to make that transition to ensure that your data move across, and to ensure that you are empowered to use this powerful new suite of tools. And perhaps most importantly, we will retain the responsive, user-driven model that both SMART and EarthRanger have applied over our collective 25 years to make sure that we are meeting your needs, the needs of the global conservation community.
So continuing on about CIRCA, what is CIRCA? So CIRCA is a technology suite. So the technology delivery aspect of it is that there's a core suite of CIRCA software, which will consist of one web platform, one mobile application, and one desktop application that will share a common login. You won't have to have separate places to log in. They share a combined user experience so that things feel consistent between the different applications. They share a data infrastructure. So there's no need to export from one to import to another, or worry that in the integration between two of them, the data isn't represented the same way. It will all natively share a data representation. And most importantly, the process that is empowered by the applications is consistent across the 3 applications. So all 3 applications are built in support of conservation activities. They're not technologies that you can use in your conservation work. They really go hand in hand with how you operate. And that will be consistent across the suite so that it's not disjointed when you're using different pieces of it. CIRCA also allows us to share a common framework so that all of the applications that make up CIRCA are starting from the same place and gives us the ability to jump off from that point to apply more advanced technologies, and all of the different components of CIRCA could then take advantage of those technologies without, again, several of them remaining disjoint. So as new things are added, they can be added across the entire suite, and it all still remains combined. So in addition to the 3 core pieces of CIRCA, there's also a larger ecosystem of applications that are part of CIRCA, meaning that they are developed in support of, in partnership with CIRCA, either by other organizations or by the CIRCA partnership, to seamlessly work again with all of the others. So again, shared login, shared data structure, et cetera. And initially, those include the Ecoscope data analysis platform, Achille, the product from WPS that works on workflows of data and applying AI models to them. WPS Watch, which is a fantastic platform for monitoring and evaluating the data that are coming through camera traps and applying workflows to them, as well as the Gundi platform, which I think roughly half the room is familiar with, which is the underlying integration engine behind EarthRanger. So collectively, all of these things will be coming together to form one user experience. So what does the timeline look like? What do the next couple of years look like? So we're talking about roughly an 18 to 24 month horizon to make significant changes as part of this partnership. We'll be working incrementally towards that, but over the next 18 to 24 months, you'll see significant investment going into a new desktop software solution, which will be that CIRCA desktop component. You'll also continue to see significant investment in the other CIRCA components, both the core components as well as the ecosystem components. We'll be closing functionality gaps between EarthRanger and SMART. So we have identified about 35 different places where there is significant functionality in EarthRanger that does not exist, in SMART that does not exist in EarthRanger. We'll be adding those features, and over the next 18 to 24 months, as we do that, EarthRanger will evolve into CIRCA Web. We'll do that incrementally, so as we go, there'll be more and more functions in EarthRanger, and at some point when we feel that it's clear enough that we can make the combined statement, we'll start referring to EarthRanger as CIRCA Web. We'll be working at the full integration between all of these different components, as I mentioned, with a single login, with a single data representation, et cetera. And very importantly, as Rich mentioned, CIRCA is not just about technology, it's about conservation, it's about the processes and the outcomes that we're looking to achieve using these technologies. And so we'll also be collectively working on a complete framework around processes, standard operating procedures for how do you leverage technology in conservation, which these tools will then support. So what is happening to the SMART partnership and to EarthRanger? So as I mentioned, the EarthRanger software will be transitioning into CIRCA Web. The SMART desktop software over time will be phased out in replacement. It'll be replaced by the new CIRCA desktop, which will be a new software suite that will perform all of the functionalities of SMART desktop, but under a new architecture, which is also completely integrated into the complete CIRCA suite. The SMART partnership itself will be transitioning into the CIRCA partnership, which EarthRanger will be joining as an organization. And that's why also I mentioned that to me, EarthRanger is not just that software, it's really about this community, and it's about this team and this partnership. And so EarthRanger will be joining the other 8 SMART partners to initially form a partnership of 9 different organizations as part of CIRCA, which will be growing then over time as well.